let her walk over me for years. My sister Jade always got the attention while I stayed in the background. If I got a compliment, she'd find a way to steal it. If I did something good, she'd top it. I didn't fight it. I thought that was how sisters were. She was loud, popular, full of confidence. I was quiet, careful, always trying to stay out of trouble. I told myself it was easier this way, to just let her have the spotlight. But deep inside, I was tired. Tired of always being second. Tired of being ignored. It started when we were little. Jade would copy everything I did. My clothes, my hobbies, even the way I talked. People thought it was cute. They'd say, "Look, she looks up to you." But it didn't feel like admiration. It felt like she was stealing my identity. When I joined art club, she joined. When I started writing poetry, so did she. And she always made it look like it was her idea. I kept letting it happen, thinking I was being mature. I didn't realize how much of myself I was giving away just to keep her happy. By high school, Jade had become the center of everything. She had the perfect friend group, the lead in the school play, the best grades, even though I helped her study. I watched from the sidelines, quietly supporting her. I was the one who stayed up with her when she cried over auditions. I was the one who gave her pep talks. But when I needed her, she wasn't there. She didn't even notice. I started to feel invisible, like I only existed to lift her up. And the worst part? I didn't know how to stop. Then came the school talent show. I had secretly been working on a dance routine for weeks. No one knew. Not my parents. Not even Jade. I practiced late at night, in the garage, with headphones on. It was the first thing I had done for myself in a long time. Dance made me feel free, like I was in control of my own body, my own story. I was nervous but excited. For once, I wanted to stand on a stage and not be someone's sidekick. I wanted to shine because I earned it, not because someone handed it to me. A week before the show, I signed up without telling anyone. It felt like a secret between me and my dreams. I picked my song, designed my outfit, and practiced every day. It was the most alive I had felt in years. Jade noticed I was spending more time alone, but she didn't ask questions. She was too busy planning her own act, a singing duet with her best friend. Everything was going fine until one night, I walked into the living room and froze. There she was, practicing my exact routine, my steps, my song, my secret. I stood there, heart pounding. I thought maybe it was a mistake. Maybe she just stumbled across the same moves. But then she saw me and smirked. "Hope you don't mind," she said. I needed something stronger. I couldn't speak. I felt like the air had been knocked out of me. She had stolen the one thing that was mine, the one thing I had kept safe. I turned and walked away, locking myself in my room. Tears filled my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. I stared at the wall and promised myself I wouldn't let this slide. That night, I didn't sleep. I went back to the garage, hit play, on a new song, and started over. Every move I had learned was gone. I had to build a new routine from scratch. My feet were sore, my arms ached, but I didn't stop. I wasn't just dancing. I was fighting for my place, for my voice. I didn't know if I'd be ready in time. I didn't know if anyone would notice. But I knew this. I wasn't going to let her win. Not like this. Not again. The night of the talent show, I felt sick. My stomach twisted as I walked into the auditorium. My name was listed last on the program. Jade's duet was halfway through. She walked past me with that same smug look, like she knew I wouldn't fight back. But she didn't know about the new routine. She didn't know what I had become. When her act ended, The crowd clapped politely. She looked pleased. She thought she had stolen the show. But the show wasn't over. I took a deep breath, walked backstage, and waited for my name to be called. When I stepped onto the stage, the lights blinded me. My heart pounded in my chest. But I didn't run. I didn't shrink. I stood tall, right in the center. The music started. A different song. A different rhythm. I moved like I had never moved before. Sharp, confident, powerful. Every beat hit like a release. Every step told my story of pain, of silence, of finally breaking free. The audience was quiet, watching closely. I saw teachers leaning forward. I saw students who never noticed me before, stunned. And I saw Jade, frozen in her seat, eyes wide. When the final note played, I struck my last pose and held it. For a second, everything was still. Then, the room erupted. People stood, they clapped, they cheered. I felt something I'd never felt before, seen. Not as Jade's sister, not as a helper or a backup, just as me. I walked off the stage, breathless and shaking, but smiling. I had done it. I had taken my place, not by pushing others down, but by lifting myself up. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need her approval. I just needed that moment to know I was enough. After the show, people came up to me, classmates, teachers, even parents I didn't know. They told me I was amazing, that they hadn't known I could dance. Some even said I should perform more. Often. I was overwhelmed, but in the best way. It felt like all the pieces of me I had been hiding were finally out in the open. And people didn't reject them. They welcomed them. Jade stayed on the other side of the room, pretending not to. Kira. But I saw her watching. And I knew she felt it too. The shift. The change. When we got home, it was quiet. Our parents talked about how proud they were of both of us. Jade just nodded. She didn't congratulate me. Didn't say a word. But that night, she didn't steal my clothes. She didn't borrow my music. She didn't touch my space. It was like she finally realized something, that I wasn't going to be walked on anymore. She had seen what I could do when I stopped holding back. And maybe, for the first time, she understood that I wasn't going to make myself small for her comfort anymore. Over the next few weeks, things slowly changed. I started joining clubs I had avoided before. I signed up for the spring showcase. People I didn't even know smiled at me in the hallway. Teachers asked me about dance. I felt like I had been let out of a box I didn't know I was in. Jade still had her crowd, her charm, her way of making everything about her. But she didn't mess with me like before. I had drawn a line. And it wasn't in words. It was in the way I carried myself now. Proud, unafraid, free. One afternoon, I found Jade sitting alone in the kitchen. She looked up, like she wanted to say something. But instead, she just said, "Your dance was good." That was it. Not much, but more than I expected. I nodded. "Thanks," I said, and we left it at that. I didn't need more. I wasn't looking for her praise anymore. I wasn't chasing her approval. I was done giving her that power. I had learned something important, that respect doesn't always come with noise. Sometimes it comes quietly. After you stop asking for it and just start living like you deserve it. Now when I dance, I do it because it makes me feel alive. Not to prove anything. Not to be better than anyone. Just for me. And every time I step onto a stage, I remember that first night. How scared I was. How strong I became. It reminds me that change doesn't always happen with a bang. Sometimes it starts with one quiet choice. One decision to stop being silent, to stop being walked on, to take back your space. That one dance didn't just change how others saw me. It changed how I saw myself. I let her walk over me for years. I gave up pieces of myself to make room for her. But that's over now. I've learned to take up space, to speak, even if my voice shakes, to move, even when I'm afraid, and most of all, to believe that I matter. I'm no longer hiding behind someone else's spotlight. I've found my own, and it doesn't fade when someone else shines. It only grows brighter, because it's mine, and I earned it.